Hello everyone and welcome to the August 2026 Sky Report. My name is Vanessa and I'm joined again by Patrick.
Hello everyone.
Let's see what's happening in the skies this month.
First up, the Perseid meteor shower peaks on the night of August 11th into the early morning of August 12th, producing up to 100 fast-moving meteors per hour. The meteors appear to radiate from a point near the top of the constellation Perseus, just below the W-shaped constellation Cassiopeia. Viewing conditions should be excellent this year, since the peak coincides with a new moon. For the best experience, head to a dark location far from city lights. Look overhead and enjoy the show. On the evening of the 15th, Venus and the moon will appear together again in the twilight sky. In June, we captured the moon passing in front of Venus and briefly blocking its light for about an hour during the daytime. This event is known as a lunar occultation of Venus, and it's available to view on our YouTube channel. You can find the link in our description. On this day, Venus reaches its greatest eastern elongation, its maximum angular separation from the Sun at 46 degrees. Its maximum altitude at sunset is about 22 degrees above the west-southwest.
A technically partial but almost total lunar eclipse will occur during the evening of the 27th through the morning of the 28th. 96% of the moon will be immersed in Earth's shadow. The partial lunar eclipse is visible from the islands in the eastern Pacific Ocean, the Americas, Europe, and Africa. A partial lunar eclipse occurs when the moon moves partially into the darkest part of Earth's shadow, known as the umbra, while the remaining portion stays within the lighter outer shadow called the penumbra.
In Los Angeles, the penumbral eclipse begins at 6:24 p.m. PDT before moonrise. At this stage, the moon starts to pass into the Earth's penumbra, the faint outer portion of its shadow. At 7:34 p.m., the moon moves into the Earth's umbra, the darkest part of its shadow. At that time, the moon is only 3 degrees above the eastern horizon and is visible in the fading twilight. The eclipse reaches its maximum phase at 9:13 p.m., when 96% of the moon is covered by the Earth's umbra, leaving only a small portion of the lunar disk illuminated. The moon exits the Earth's umbra at 10:52 p.m. and continues its passage through the penumbra, the lighter outer portion of the Earth's shadow. The eclipse ends at 12:02 a.m., when the moon completely exits the Earth's shadow and returns to its full brightness. The umbral phase of the eclipse is 3 hours and 18 minutes.
Weather permitting, Griffith Observatory will broadcast the near total lunar eclipse live. You can watch the broadcast on our YouTube channel or on our website, griffithobservatory.org, under Upcoming Events. Let's look at the constellations this month. To the northeast, we see the constellation Cassiopeia above the horizon appearing as a W in the sky. To the south of it, Pegasus and Andromeda are making their way higher in the sky. Above them, Cygnus and Aquila are high in the sky, each of them offering their brightest star to the Summer Triangle asterism. Here we see Deneb and Altair, 2 out of 3 corners of the triangle. Still partially below the horizon, we see Pisces the fishes.
Towards the south, the summer constellation Sagittarius takes center stage. The central portion of the constellation looks like a teapot. Just to its right lies the distinctive S-shaped constellation Scorpius, whose brilliant red star Antares marks the Scorpion's heart as it gradually slips towards the western horizon. Looking west, the sky is dominated by the orange star Arcturus, the brightest star in the constellation Boötes the herdsman, while the Big Dipper descends towards the northern horizon. Jupiter has been hidden in the sun's glare for about 2 months, but now it's beginning to reappear in the pre-dawn sky above the eastern horizon. By the end of the month, it should be visible just before dawn as the sky starts to brighten. Also look for Orion and Sirius west of Jupiter.
This month, the planet Saturn does not move much compared to the background stars. It stays within the boundaries of the constellation Pisces for the entire month, meaning that it's only visible when the constellation is above the horizon. At the beginning of the month, Saturn rises at around 11 p.m., and by the end of the month, that moves to around 9 p.m. Here you can see where the planet is at around midnight throughout the month. If you have a telescope and enjoy staying up through the night, this is a great time to look at Saturn. Unlike Saturn, Mars is on the move compared to the background stars this month. Mars starts in the constellation of Taurus and ends in Gemini. It rises at about 2:33 a.m. on the 1st. By mid-month, here you can see where the planet will be at 3 a.m., and by the 31st, it rises around 2 a.m.
On the 1st, Venus is the first bright object to appear in the evening sky shortly after sunset, shining as a solitary point of light in the fading twilight. By the 15th, Venus shifts closer to the western horizon as it moves southward along the ecliptic through the constellation Virgo. At month's end, Venus moves 1.5 degrees below Spica, the brightest star in Virgo, low to the west. It sets 1 hour and 42 minutes after the Sun.
And here is your lunar calendar for August. The last quarter is on the 5th. The new moon is on the 12th. The first quarter is on the 19th. And the full moon is on the 27th. Thank you so much for joining us for August, and we'll see you again next month. Bye!
Bye!